What's up everybody and welcome to Board Game Burger. This is What's Cookin', our crowdfunding preview format where we take a look at a game just dropped into the pan. You can just hear it sizzle. Today, we are taking a look at Oak, published by Game Brewer, designed by Wim Goossens, with art by Messia Yannick. I don't really know how to pronounce your name, and I'm sorry if I messed it up, but in Oak, players are competing as druidic orders to gain the deepest insights from the great oak tree deep in the hidden forest. In this worker placement game, players start small but grow in knowledge, make friends with mythical creatures, and tap into artifacts of old. All for the purpose of proving their worthiness to the great oak and receiving the wisdom of the ancients. So let us, get what I did there, let us, take a look at some buttery smooth shots and see what this game is all about. Each player receives an asymmetrical player board, 3 starting moot cards, a set of 9 druids, 3 are placed on your player board, and the rest are placed on the roots of the great oak. As you see here, the great and gorgeous oak is placed in the center of the table. On the board you will notice spaces for gathering, potion brewing, ancient artifacts, and a place to meet helpful mystical creatures. Each player starts off with 6 of each resource. There are 3 phases to each round, and the game is played over 5 rounds. First, we have the Dawn phase, where all players receive the income listed on their player boards: 3 feathers, 3 mistletoe, and 3 runes. Then begins the Day phase. This is where the foresty actiony goodness all happens. On your turn, you may play a moot card, use a special action, or pass and gather ingredients. Moot cards provide the opportunity to do a temple or oak action. To perform a temple action, you must send a druid from your player board to the appropriate space on the main board. If the card played has a feather on it, send your druid to the feather temple. But not only that, the druid must be placed on the matching space corresponding to the action that the player chose. Then, depending on which action they chose, they pay the appropriate amount of feathers and complete this action. If there was already a druid of another color, you must send a second druid from your player board. Examples of temple actions include taking a creature card, taking an artifact, acquiring new advanced moot cards, and even upgrading your druids to elder druids. But you need to remember that if you're expanding by adding creatures and druids, your player board needs to have adequate space. Elder druids can only rest on spaces that look like this, and creatures will be placed here under your player board. There is a limit stone that can be moved to make room through actions or paying the resources listed on your player board at any time. If you elect to take the oak action instead of the moot action, pay the resources indicated at the bottom of the card, then move one of your druids along the corresponding oak branch, take any points your druid lands on in that space. A player can only have 1 druid on each branch, and as you move further along, the branch will split. You must choose your path wisely, because you cannot backtrack. Sometimes you will pass and be required to take a solar token. If so, move the solar marker. This can trigger a solstice festival. As long as your scoring marker is not past the solar marker, you are allowed to take part. You gain the resource benefit for each of your druids that are standing on a branch. The last space on the branch does not award a solstice bonus, however, but an immediate point multiplier once you reach it. But once a player reaches this space, however, it will become locked at the end of the round. So if you also want some of those delicious points, you better act quickly. Okay, let's circle back to upgrading those druids for a second. There are 6 upgrades that can be applied to your druids, making them elders. The Arch Elder has great wisdom and can be used to do a special or temple action to reduce the cost of the action taken by 2 to a minimum of 0. The Bard tells tales of mystical creatures. When you upgrade to the Bard, add the Bard board to your player board, making more space for creatures and shrines. The Ovate lets you brew a potion with 1 less ingredient, and potions often have a very powerful effect. To brew a potion, you pay the ingredients needed, gain the bonus, and take a completed bonus token. The Talon Masters are enforcers, not easily intimidated. Thus, they can be placed on any location occupied by another player without having to place an extra worker from your player board. The Recluse has his own dedicated resting place on your player board and therefore doesn't take up any resting spaces. Makes a lot of sense with his name. Lastly, there's the Ancient, the most powerful of upgrades. This is only accomplished by brewing the Ancient Potion. The Ancient Elder mimics any other Elder Druid powers. And look at how cool these upgrades are that go on the meeples. Okay, now that you have a picture of what the temple and oak actions look like, we can talk about the special actions. These are found on your player board, the main board, and on the ancient artifacts. These symbols show that only an Elder Druid may complete the action, and these spaces indicate that any Druid can perform the task. So, each player board comes with special actions that are asymmetrical and unique to you, so I'll let you discover these on your own. Just know some provide resources and allow you to brew potions, and lots of other actions. The special action on the main board, however, lets you build a manure, if I'm saying that right, which is worth 6 points. To build a manure, pay the resources and place the card above your player board as long as there's space. Other special actions can be found on artifacts. When you gain an artifact, you immediately gain points. But each time you use an artifact, you turn it, which may cause you to lose points, but allows you to take a powerful action. Oh, the tension! If you pass on your turn, you take a druid from the roots and place it on the harvest space, gaining the ingredient. The round ends once all players have passed and all harvest tokens are taken. Then move the solar marker one space and play the next round. The player with the most points at the end is declared the winner and receives the ancient wisdom. Oak provides the excellent tension of a worker placement game, but adds in ways to mitigate that tension through upgrading your druids, like using the Talon Master to perform an action at an occupied space so you don't have to send an extra druid. But this worker placement game also fuses the art of worker placement and action selection seamlessly through the moot cards. The box isn't overflowing with materials, but I feel like I can accomplish so many things on my turn and in each game. But the most clever part of the design is using the moot cards to dictate the temple actions. Because you can add more moot cards to your hand, not only can you take more actions on a round, but the advanced cards make actions cheaper and change the location where you have to place your druid to accomplish similar actions on the basic moot cards. This takes the standard good old worker placement locations only being on the board and upgrades them to a flashy new game, which is what we see here. This opens up so many possibilities for you to accomplish your goal. I really love the ingeniousness of it. This really is a fresh take on worker placement, which is not an easy task considering how often this mechanic is used. This is a Euro-style game where the theme fits well and the actions are so efficient and tie into one another. There really is nothing wasted, meaning all actions are linked in a way that they need each other. I was truly impressed by Oak. The art and the theme were interesting, but I was more than surprised by the elegant design. I immediately wanted to play another round, and that's an excellent sign for me. I think this game has potential to hold interest for a long time due to the modularity. There are so many potion tiles, and you only use 3 per game, yet they have a major impact on play and strategy. Where the design could improve, however, is with the player boards. This is where double layer boards would be very useful, not to mention delicious. The main reason for this is the resource markers. They are easily bumped and become displaced throughout the game. So, double layer boards would fix this and make the game pop even more. All in all, I'm impressed by this tasty design, the replayability, artwork, and epic meeple upgrades. Oak hits, and I would even say, it's bussin'. So if you think this elegant strategic Eurogame is for you, head on over to the campaign using the link in the description. We will see you there, and we can't wait to see what stretch goals are unlocked and get the final product to the table. If you found our video to your liking, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. We can only grow with your help. As always, stay hungry for more board games, my friends.